G'day everyone, it's Mr. T here again. This week's session is on hope. Hope is such an intriguing and interesting topic. Certainly when I started my hoping journey and research into hope a couple of years ago, it really turned out to be something so different to what I understand it to be today. I look at this picture here and I think of our past experiences over the last 5 weeks with the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, some of us have experienced being on the darker end of this picture, and some of us may have experienced being on the lighter end of the picture, and some of us have experienced being on both sides of the picture. And I think that's probably been a common experience for all of us. But the thing about hope is this. Hope is about trying to move from a place less desirable to more desirable. And the thing is, how can we use hope to do that? Now, what is hope? Initially, when I started studying hope, I was under the assumption that it was a feeling. Now, hope is a feeling, but it doesn't start off as a feeling. So the dictionary defines hope as a feeling of expectation and desire for a particular thing to happen. So you hope for something to happen. But the power isn't found in that feeling. The power is found in the hoping process. So hope really is, it's something that's really understood, or misunderstood, sorry. And I think when you look at it, it's undervalued. Why is that? Because if you have hope just as a feeling, hoping for something to happen, where's the action? So hope in itself, the most accepted model of hope is the hoping model by Schneider. And he defines hope as the perceived capability to derive pathways to desired goals and motivate oneself by agency thinking to use those pathways. It sounds a little bit wordy, so let me summarize it for you in some simple terms. Hope can be defined and broken up into 3 areas. 1, goal setting. 2, your agency thinking, which is your motivation, your self-belief, your self-efficacy. And 3, the pathway. So that's being able to develop many different routes to the top of the mountain. There are always a number of different solutions or ways to get to a solution when you look at the problems. So looking at the difference between the dictionary definition of hope and Schneider's cognitive model of hope, I'll give you a metaphor. So person A has got watermelon seeds in their hand, and they're hoping for those seeds to turn into watermelons. Now they've got a garden, they've got water, but the seeds stay in their hand. Person B is hoping for the watermelon seeds in their hand to grow. But what they do is they walk into their garden, they plant those seeds, and then they water those seeds every single day, hoping that those watermelons will one day grow. Now, at the end of a season, you're going to find 2 very different outcomes. Person A is still sitting there hoping for those seeds to grow, but will not have any watermelons because they haven't planted the seeds. Person B, who's planted the seeds, who's watered the seeds, who's looked after the soil and got rid of all the weeds, has got a far greater chance of success in growing some watermelons because they've given themselves the opportunity for it to happen through their actions. So you can see here now that hope, when we start to break it down, it starts off as a thought, the thought being the goal, and then it leads to a feeling through our actions. So if we just sit here and hope for things to be better and do nothing, we cannot expect things to change. Now, we've experienced an enormous amount of change over the last 5 weeks. This year, 2020, really. For some of you, year 11s and 12s who have come back to school this week, you're starting a new journey. You know, the 7s and 8s, 9s and 10s, you'll be coming back online over the coming weeks as well. So we're starting a new journey as well there. So there's lots of things going on, and it's really important that, I guess it's fortuitous that we're talking about hope, because hope is about goal setting, and it's about moving from a place less desirable to more desirable. So understanding now and developing your hoping process could be the best thing that we could focus on right now, because we are in a place of, I don't really like the way things have happened. maybe external learning, maybe the social isolation. But how do we get to a place of, I want this to be like this? You know, human beings are goal orientated. So we're always looking to improve. So let's start off with goals. So the goals set must be regarded as valuable. They must be valuable to yourself. They must be attainable, and there must be a certain degree of challenge. Because if they're too easy, you're not going to get out of bed. If they're too hard, it's going to be very, very easy to give up. So you've got to find a sweet spot with the goal set, so it continues to inspire you, and you can develop the motivation to overcome the challenges that you face. All right, it's really important that the goals are geared towards helping the individual believe they can develop the actions. I.e., if you can make that goal specific and you can start to develop actions and take those actions, you're going to find your motivation will increase. If you set goals and you can't develop actions in order to achieve them, what you're going to find is that your motivation will decrease and your actions will decrease, certainly when the challenges start to rear their heads. And we all know this. If you haven't figured it out yet, let me share this point of truth with you. Life is not fair and life will not go to plan. But you have the opportunity to turn a challenge into an opportunity for growth. Last week we talked about stoicism, and the challenge to you was to become more stoic, being able to stand up in the face of adversity and act from your values, being able to change your perception, which then leads to your action, and then looking at the motivation that guides that. So these sorts of traits that we're talking about actually help your hoping process. Now, I've broken this down into a simple picture there for you to see. So we've got hope at the very top. Underneath that, I want you to understand it's goal setting, and that links to agencies and pathways. So agency being your motivation to actually continue with it, your self-efficacy, your confidence, your optimism. So we've got there. So your past experiences have prepared me well for your future. I.e., if you've had lots of positive past experiences, you're going to have positive self-belief. You're going to have an increase in your self-efficacy. You're going to become more confident. I energetically pursue my goals. I meet the goals I set for myself. I've been pretty successful in life. So all of these things here help drive your motivation, help drive your confidence. You've got the pathways as well. So that's the third component of hope. So even when others get discouraged, I know I can find a way to solve my problems. Okay, so you might be faced with a problem and no one can come up with a solution. You've got every excuse then to, I'm just going to give up. This is where we start to have to look and think creatively to try and find a different way to that solution. And understand there are lots of different ways around a problem. I can think of many ways to get things in life that are important to me. I can think of many ways to get out of the gym. So what we're talking about there is being able to think creatively and come up with many, many different ways to actually address that problem. Okay, so I don't even like the word problem. Let's use the word challenge. Let's use the word opportunity for growth. Let's start to look at the way we talk about things, because understand this, our words create our perception as well, and they're linked. So if I'm saying a problem, I'm automatically thinking it's negative. I'm just thinking out loud here. So let's look at it, instead of calling it a problem, let's call it an opportunity for growth, because that's what it is. Every challenge that we accept, every challenge that we overcome has a lesson. We can learn from that. So rather than looking at it as a problem, rather than looking at the COVID-19 pandemic as a problem, let's change our wording and look at it as an opportunity for growth. Look at how you've grown through this experience. Now, some of it hasn't been a choice, some of it's been forced upon you, but if you can start to use these things, use life as an opportunity, you give yourself the best chance to be the best version of yourselves. And ultimately, that should be one of our goals. All right, character and discipline. These are two areas that I believe are going to further help solidify your hoping process. Okay, so the goal is to improve. It doesn't matter how good you are if you can be better. And it's something, not only do I say to the kids, well, I talk to the staff, people in the community, we should always be looking to try better ourselves. Not compare ourselves to anyone else, but compare ourselves to the person we were yesterday and looking at how have I improved? How have I improved as a student? How have I improved as a mother, as a father, as a parent, as a teacher? Whatever profession you choose, we should always be looking to try better our skills. Okay? And it starts with who you are and what you want to do. Now, that question, who are you, is a very, very deep and, you could say it's a mystical question, because philosophers and religions have been talking about that question since the age of time. Now, you can come up with whatever answer you want. That's great. The answer I'll give to you today is you are who you think you are. Okay? So, what is your train of thought today? Because that's what you're creating. And I want you to understand is, as students, your goal here is the end of education is character, in my opinion. It's yes, you may get an ATAR, or you may end up with a trade, or get a QCE. Fantastic. You're going to get a piece of paper, but it's who you choose to be as a person. Okay? So what do you want to do? And these are questions that people are going to start asking to you. What job do you want to have? But I'm saying to you right now, what do you want to do in this moment? Start to define that. All right? Develop the character and the attitude you need to get better at what you do. Okay? So to me, character is broken up into three aspects. Your thoughts, what you think, your habits, what you do, and your priorities, what is important to you. Okay? Those three things make up your character in my perception. And that character will determine the choices that you make. And those will impact your willpower, your motivation, and your way power, your creative thinking. So understand this. Develop your character, develop your attitude, because it only strengthens the core elements of the hoping process. Discipline. Last week we talked about discipline. Now the word discipline has a very negative connotation, but last week I talked about how discipline equals freedom. You own your discipline. Remember, you have the choice to actually control your emotions and harness the energy of those emotions to create positive outcomes and positive actions, or you let your emotions control you. Okay? So discipline is what you're supposed to do, when you're supposed to do it, the way it's meant to be done. The right thing, the right way, all the time. So my challenge to you is this. Start to develop or continue to develop your character. Continue to develop your attitude. All right? Start to change the way we think of discipline, because it's something that can help create your hoping process. So decide to develop your hoping process. I say hoping process because it's this. I want you to move away from the idea that hope is just a feeling, and it's accompanied by actions and motivation. If you can start to understand that, the world's your oyster. Rather than just sitting here and hoping for something to happen, you make it happen. And this is what I want you to understand. Hope has been so misunderstood because they only think of it as a feeling. What I'm saying to you is now is do some research, have a look into it, and you will find that if you can develop a hoping process, you're going to be able to stand up in the face of adversity. You're going to be able to stand up when things go wrong. And in that moment, rather than giving up, you get back up. In that moment, rather than turning away and walking back, you find another way around that challenge. And you find success. You create success. Let me say that again. You create success. Because we are all challenged in life. We've been challenged in ways that we've never experienced through this COVID-19 pandemic. But it's an opportunity for you to strengthen yourself, strengthen your character, strengthen your attitude, start to strengthen the discipline you have within yourself. Set stretch goals, okay, that take you outside of your comfort zone. Because the person you think you are today will be different to the person you are in 5 years from now, okay? I want you to understand that. Keep stepping outside of your comfort zone, because as you do that, you start to become aware of what you're capable of. And I want you to understand that it's up to you. You can go out and create whatever it is you want to do in this life. Okay, that's your call. That's your journey. You are only limited by, I'll take that, not only limited by. One of the big limiting factors is your train of thought. You know, I can or I can't. That's your choice. You choose can or you choose can't. That's not for me to decide. So I want you to start off with that, because remember, over the last couple of weeks, I've talked to you about the two things you can control in life. And that's it, your thoughts and your actions. You can't control anything else. Control your thoughts. Choose can over can't. And control your actions. So hope, remember, is the goal. Setting your goal. Moving from a place less desirable to more desirable. And that is supported by your willpower, your agency thinking, and your way power. Alright? By cultivating your hoping process, you will also in turn develop greater self-efficacy, confidence, motivation, optimism, and self-belief. So here we find ourselves starting a transition to come back to school. Alright? So some of you are going to have to reset some of those goals that you've set at the start of the term, at the start of the year. That's okay. The question I put out to you is, what is your how? What is your process? Start to look at hope rather than just as a feeling. Develop a hoping process that will allow you to achieve what it is you want to achieve. I really, really like this photo or this picture. And it's what we are, we've got that leap of faith, and what we want to be. You have to take that jump. Alright? What I'm saying to you is this, what your teachers have said to you, what your parents have said to you. You've got the capacity to make that jump. And it's about having the courage to find out. This is your opportunity now to go out there into life and use hope to achieve those things that you want to achieve in life. Define what you want to achieve and develop your process. I'm going to put on a video now, and then you're going to break out in your collaborate groups.